Hello, Foster Fierce Nation. Welcome to Interview with a Foster Kid and happy 2025. It feels incredible to finally push that red record button after so much time putting this together, and not to mention all the time it took getting the courage to start. I have a mix of emotions right now, a dash of preemptive embarrassment, and of course I'm being joined today by my co-host and trusty sidekick, anxiety. I'm also a classic overthinker, and one of my super strengths is overthinking myself right out of a great idea. So yeah, I'm pretty dang happy for achieving what has felt impossible for a long time, getting started. This is my very first episode of Interview with a Foster Kid, and today is my birthday. I'm your host, Amira, a foster care alumni with 15 years in the system and over 20 years experience of piecing life together after aging out. That's right, I have 2 doctorates in improvisational adulting. I am so excited to kick this off so close to New Year's because it's also resolution time. For the longest time, I have gone from idea to idea, job to job, future goal to future goal. But nothing has had purpose. I'm a rebel against having to do things just because somebody tells me that I have to, which means getting a job just because I need money is equally as uninspiring. It's just not the way that I'm wired. For years, I allowed the obtuse and stigmatized opinions of others to persuade my opinion of myself to a much lower level. When I was a kid, I knew I was awesome. I was creative and far more cunning than any of the adults who thought they were onto me at any given time. I was convinced I could see the ethereal colors Einstein talked about. I was a competitive and talented writer and poet, just teeming with potential. But after years of gaslighting and lots of low blows to my passions and ambitions, I started to listen to all of the "you can't make money being creative, get your head out of the clouds, get a real job, blah, blah." And my favorite as a foster kid, "you don't have a family to cushion your fall, so you better be practical with your next move." Thanks. The thing is, I didn't have time to think about a next move. As a foster kid, your next moves just happened to you. So at what point are we supposed to develop this appreciation for critical thinking of the future? I knew what I loved and who I loved, but only the things and people I didn't particularly care for were being thrown in my face and required of me. So after so many formative years of those things taking precedence and having life-altering importance to everyone else, I feel like Stockholm's kicked in. I started to relate to my societal captors, if you will. Maybe I'm not who I thought I was meant to be. Maybe I need to learn how to be who they want me to be so that I can be better for them. So that I can be better for the people who have labeled me, chastised me, and are frankly afraid of my ambitions. At first, I did try to comply-ish. I started to hate my creative side, or at least resent it, knowing that it was directly linked to why people were annoyed at me and why they labeled me, why I was such a menace to them. I started to try to be other people who seemed to robotically put their noses to the grindstone, ignoring the blood running down their faces. And I felt like I had greater purpose than that. But I was forced to mimic their 9-to-5 ambitions, or lack thereof. I struggled with all of the things that weren't me, trying to master these uninteresting things so that people who already didn't appreciate me would maybe look at me with a little bit of kindness or even hope. Not realizing that by complying, I was joining the absent-minded masses and leaving another soul, another character just like me, to stand even more alone. I wish I had known then that being me meant finding the others. But changing who I was meant leaving the others behind, leaving us all just feeling a little more isolated. And that is why a huge part of my resolution this year is to be exactly me. I am a creative, an expert survivor, an enigma, an ethereal magician. I am a proud foster kid alumni, and I am proud of all of my foster siblings around the world. This podcast is for us. This is our place to connect, to confront, to tell our stories, to be validated and proud. This podcast is your place to confront the system and be interviewed on the details of your life that people have expertly overlooked. My dedicated resolution this year is to make sure that this podcast serves that greater purpose that I know our lives and our extraordinary circumstances prepared us for. We are going to connect the pains of our past to the purpose of our future. We're not leaving our past behind, deleting it, getting over it, or pretending it didn't happen. We are understanding that without it, we couldn't affect necessary change and be the superior creatures that we so clearly are. Throughout the episodes of this podcast, I have some amazing people already in the lineup to interview from all different spectrums of the system. But I want your story. I want to turn the volume up on your voice and project it to the world. We also have an episode coming up where we turn the mic on the host. You'll have the chance to get to know more about me through a Q&A interview episode, which I expect to be incredibly revealing and a bit uncomfortable. So definitely connect with me through the email link in the podcast description, and let's start collaborating on the world that only we know. Honestly, I'm really excited about this year and the future. I'm excited about connecting with all of my sibs out there and bringing us together on a platform that truly honors how remarkable our lives are and how connected they're meant to be. More importantly, I'm excited to break through stigmas and stereotypes and all the negativity that we face just for being foster kids. And I'm a big believer that most of what we face is fear from other people because we are so exceptional and resilient and masterful at life. Let's be honest, guys, most of us should be dead. The very fact that we survived some of the many situations that death threw our way is absolutely insane. We are amazing allies who are often just seen as formidable foes. And I'm really hoping this podcast can help change that a bit, clear that up. As you can already see, there is a lot we are going to unearth in this podcast, with guests ranging from professionals who have focused their lives on children and the broken system in some way or another to the real experts, us. Foster kids have the most important thing to tell, the truth. So the world better buckle up because we're coming out fierce, and the quiet part is about to get real loud. And if you made it this far in the show, clearly it's because you know you're an expert survivor with a story to share that only an enigma could tell. A story that will make change and right wrongs. A story that will affect hearts and start fact-checking a system that currently works under the guise of uniting families and protecting children, but often serves in many ways to disrupt any chance we ever had at a family or a successful future. These are the stories that our foster fierce siblings out there and all of the people who think they know us professionally, on paper, or otherwise need to hear. So connect with me at the IWAFosterKid@gmail.com. I have that link in the email, the link of that email in the description here. And let's just talk about the things that need to be changed in the system and tell the secrets that are very rarely, if ever, told. I also want to invite you to tune in for a very powerful episode of Interview with a Foster Kid next week on Saturday the 15th. This time, we're sitting down with published author Kathleen Kelly, and trust me, her story really is one you won't want to miss. During this interview, we'll be diving into Kathleen's book, Voices of the ER. And guys, it is seriously an honest look at life from someone who's seen it all. Kathleen has been a mom who's faced heartbreaking loss, an ER and forensic nurse who's witnessed life's most intense moments, an advocate and a foster parent. In fact, Kathleen was one of my foster parents when I was 11 years old. And I will never forget her beautiful ranch, the horses she let us care for and ride every day, the meadows and creeks my sister and I could get lost in playing for hours. It felt like It felt like what other kids had. It felt like freedom for a while. It was an ideal situation that unfortunately wasn't allowed to last, but it's a part of Kathleen's journey, and I get to say that I was a part of this incredible woman's journey, and it's the kind of journey that reminds me why I'm doing this podcast, and I'm just very honored that she's going to share it here. Also, if you want to get her book, Voices of the ER, you can get it on Amazon. It's available in hard copy and digital. And you may want to order now if you'd like to get started reading it ahead of next week's episode. We do have a live Q&A session at the end of our interview portion of the episode, and I will be reading your questions that you send in, and we'll have our author respond to them live. Guys, this podcast is going to be a trip, and I'm really psyched to take this journey with you. So mark your calendars, stay tuned, sign up, follow, whatever the kids are saying right now. Just know that this is a platform that means so much, that has a purpose, and that purpose is yours. It's to serve you. Thank you so much for listening today. And remember, we are champions of anything that challenges us. So until next time, stay foster kid fierce.